It's 2:30 p.m. and I have to call it. Unfortunately, I will not be filming a walking and talking video because it's been raining since I woke up this morning and it has not let up for a moment. I have been watching it. I even walked outside with my umbrella and mic to see if I can make it work in the rain, but the sound of the rain on the umbrella is too loud. I'm just gonna have to record from in my room today, and I hope that that's okay with you, but I still have a really good video prepared. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. My name is Misako Envela, and thank you so much for pressing play on today's video. I watched a couple of videos like this before I came here, and I thought that they were super helpful, so it inspired me to put together my own list of things that I think people should know before they come to Japan. Starting off with number one, I truly believe that any effort you make to learn a few phrases will be greatly appreciated. No one is expecting you to be fluent, but in a culture that really values respect, I think that this is a respectful thing to do. So I put together a list of 4 things or 4 phrases that I think you should learn before you come. The first, Eigo wa hanasemasu ka? Eigo wa hanasemasu ka? Do you speak English? Now, even if the answer is no, I think that this is more respectful to ask before you just start speaking to people in English. I feel like when you just start speaking to people in English, you're putting the burden on them to figure out what you're trying to say, and you're just assuming that they speak your language or a language that you speak. And so I think before you start speaking, if you need to, explain something or ask a question in English, ask if they speak English. And then if the answer is no, then you pull out your Google Translate app and write it out for them. But I've seen people get frustrated over the fact that they're in Japan and Japanese people are not speaking their language, and I don't think that that's fair. So, Eigo wa hanasemasu ka? And like I said, the answer might be no, but then you can figure out together what needs to be communicated. The next phrase I think you should know is sumimasen, which is excuse me, pardon me, and it's also how you would get someone's attention. The next phrase, which I'm sure a lot of you know, is arigatou gozaimasu, which is thank you, the polite version of thank you. And the last phrase I think that everyone should know is onegaishimasu, which is please. Onegaishimasu or kudasai, after you ask for something, I think adding that is just a little more polite. And a bonus one is gomenasai, which is sorry. Basic phrases I think you should know. If you can learn more, that'd be amazing, but I think those 4 will go a long way. And I am nowhere near fluent. There are many times where I'm using my phone and pictures to communicate what I'm saying, but I find that I use those phrases a lot here. So that's tip number 1. The second tip, get a Suica card. I would say get a Suica card as soon as you get to the airport. I see a lot of people have them on their phones. I actually have a physical card. I'll insert a photo of the card here, but most people just have them in their digital wallet. This is how you will get around on the metro. You can use this at convenience stores, but you need this. I've seen signs in the metro where they have actually paused selling physical cards for I'm not sure how long, but I'm positive you can get one in your digital wallet. Number 3, just because we're visitors doesn't mean that we shouldn't respect the customs. When you're getting onto the metro, get in the line. If you're going up an escalator and you're not going to walk, stand on the left. If you're on the metro, don't speak on your phone. People don't really talk at all on the metro. Maybe quiet conversations, but metro bus, people aren't really talking. And then one lesson I quickly learned, I learned this before I came the first time, but I didn't realize drinks were involved. You're not supposed to eat and drink while walking on the street or just standing in general. I thought that it was only food, which is why in my first video you see me drinking a conveni drink, but drinks are also in this. So you shouldn't walk and consume things. I'm assuming that's because they just want to keep the streets as clean as possible, and if you aren't walking and eating or walking and drinking, you're less likely to litter. The 4th tip, which is related to my previous one, there are no trash cans on the street here. You'll find the little, sometimes, not all the time, little trash cans next to the vending machines where you can put bottles in, but that's only for bottles. and sometimes you'll see them in convenience stores like trash cans, but they're not trash cans on the street here. I recommend carrying like a little like plastic bag in your bag with you, so that if you do like try something at a bakery or a convenience store, you can store your trash in your bag until you get home. The fifth thing, which I thought was pretty cool, is most fitness studios, dance studios, I mean all of the ones that I've seen, yoga studios, anywhere where you would take a class, they offer trial lessons. Your first lesson is a trial lesson, you can schedule it, and it's like significantly cheaper than the cost of a regular class. That way you can try different classes out at different studios and see which one you really like. If you do end up signing up, a lot of places have subscription fees, and then you like buy your package. The sixth tip, if you're coming here, you need to work or you need to upload things and the internet at wherever you're staying isn't as strong, the 24-hour internet cafes will change your life. I've never used internet that's so fast in my life. And a lot of them also, well, there are internet cafes that are like for gaming and things like that, but then there are internet cafes that are co-working spaces. I'm gonna put the one on the screen that I go to sometimes. These also have call rooms, so you can like talk on the phone and have meetings in them. These places have been so helpful for me, and I love that they're 24 hours. Sometimes I don't finish my videos until 10 o'clock at night and I still need to upload them. So I just mosey on over, get on the train. I found one that's super close to my place now, so I don't have to get on the train and go, but before I would take the train there and then take a bike back. The first one I went to was actually a video game cafe. Everyone was gaming around me, but I just pulled out my laptop and used the Wi-Fi. Incredible Wi-Fi. Highly recommend. I'll also put the one on the screen that I went to. Tip number 7, and this is something that I learned from my time in Mexico City, and I think it's important that we're conscious of this as well when we visit here. I think that we should be conscious of the way that we talk about the cost of goods, like, and I'm not perfect and I slip up all the time, but like constantly saying like, oh my God, everything is so cheap here. Everything is so cheap. Speaking to Japanese people like, oh my God, everything is so cheap. That is based on the currency that you make. The cost of living here is not cheap if you're making yen. And I think that it can come off insensitive if you're just like rattling off about how cheap things are here, when that's not the reality for a lot of people. I know that it's a challenging financial time for people here, and I think that we can all be a little more sensitive to that, myself included. Next thing, which is more just advice, is I really don't think that you should stress yourself out trying to get into all of these restaurants and places on top 10 lists. People here really care about the work that they do, and I have never looked at one of those lists to pick where I'm going to eat, and I have never had a bad meal. Every place is going to have delicious food, coffee, pastries, and I think you'll have a wonderful experience, you know, at the small mom and pop shop next to your accommodations, like maybe even a better experience because you'll actually get to connect with the people working there. And yeah, I just think that's important to know. Like, I've seen people get stressed out over trying to make it to all these places and then like standing in line for hours, and I'm sure that those places are delicious and wonderful too, but I have also had incredible meals and I've never stood in a line anywhere. And that's not me trying to be like super hipster. I'm just like, there's so many businesses to support here. We don't have to keep supporting the same ones over and over again. Not that they don't deserve support, but I think that we can spread our support out. The next thing I think you should know is the kids walking alone on the street, they're not lost. They didn't get separated from their parents. Japan is just that safe. Like, you will see tiny children walking throughout the metro stations, on the bus, walking to school, and it trips me up every time. And it's because like the community, like society here, has decided that they will watch over all the children. And so, yeah, like they're just doing their thing. And I think it's so beautiful, and it really makes me emotional every time, because I'm like, wow, a place like this really does exist. It really does exist. And it's really nice to witness. And the last tip I have for you is just to be patient with yourself and with others as you're like navigating Japan and the language. No one is expecting you to be perfect, and we shouldn't expect other people to be perfect. And I think we should take the opportunities where maybe we do get a little lost on the metro, or we do end up getting off at the wrong spot, to just explore and go with the flow. I understand wanting to make the most out of your time here and see the things that you've always had on your list. But I also think you can have a wonderful trip if you just let things flow as they're meant to. That's why I've made it a point to mention my tip about like not feeling pressure to hit everything on those lists, because I think that can really exhaust you and make your trip more stressful than it needs to be. A day, grabbing a nice tea and then walking around the park is also just like a really enriching experience. I hope that you found this video to be helpful. I'm sorry that we couldn't walk around today, but I'm hoping tomorrow the weather is better. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for showing up for me. Thank you so much for being patient with me. And as always, thank you for being here. Bye. I'm walking to a cafe to edit, and it's still coming down. It's kind of nice.